Hey, what's up? This is X NecroXFearX of YouTube. You can just call me Necrofear, and I decided to start doing wrestling pay-per-view reviews whenever I can. So I'd have to say, don't expect me to be doing this every single month or whatever. I'm just gonna do this whenever I can. Last night, via live stream, I watched TNA's Against All Odds 2012. And it's TNA. You gotta have low expectations, I gotta say. So I'm not gonna give like my full rating of the pay-per-view. I'm just gonna start with each match, and I will admit that a couple matches I lost my internet feed, so don't expect me to know everything that happened throughout the whole night. So here we go. First match, we had Zima Ion versus Jesse Sorensen, which was it was actually a good match. Good. It was a good starter. It was going back and forth, and around the 2-minute mark, I lost my internet feed, so I did not get to see Jesse Sorensen get injured. So I'm just gonna go by the 2 minutes and whatever seconds I had to watch. I'm gonna just give it about a 6.5, maybe a 7, because it was decent. It was really showing both characters before the entrance, like their gimmicks, how they act, and it did kind of go into the match pretty good. Now, then the next match we had, obviously it wasn't announced prior to the show. We had Robbie E, who I'm going to be very honest with before I get to the match. His gimmick I hate because it's based off the Jersey Shore. I don't care for that show. I don't care for MTV. So I think he's got some good in-ring skills. The gimmick, though, just kills it. Kills it completely for me, man. And he was making a open challenge to anyone who came out. First guy to come out to get the challenge for the TV title was Shannon Moore. And that was, I actually liked the match, to be honest. It was, it showed a lot of the characteristics of Robbie E. He's a total, he's got to be a douchebag, and he was pandering to the crowd, acting like he was better, showing off, typical heel stuff. And then we get Shannon Moore, who's really trying to break out on his own, and I thought he broke out on his own pretty good. He lost, but hey, he really was surprising me, because it's been a while since I've gotten to really watch a Shannon Moore match. So when I do, I actually like it, because I like him. I like the Prince of Punk gimmick. I like the reject gimmick. Not as much as the Prince of Punk, but hey, blame WWE for that. Now here we and since Robbie had the bouncer with Robbie T, I knew something was. I just knew he was gonna be the deciding factor of the match, whether it be a win or a loss for his client. I just knew it was gonna happen. So when we kind of went through all that, I gotta say another good match. I gave it a lot of props. I liked it, and the only thing I didn't like was how it ended, with the whole going for the roll up, and Shannon Moore gets kicked off and then punched in the mouth by Robbie T, which makes Robbie E hit him with a DDT, which wasn't a bad finish, but I think they could have done a lot better. My rating, I'll give it an 8.0. Next, we had the Knockouts title match, Gail Kim versus Tara, and these women go a long way back because they were both in WWE together on the Raw roster. and because of that, we got to really see some more storytelling to the match, because we saw two girls who really wanted to beat the crap out of one another and have the title on their hands. And we also got to see a little more storytelling between the Gail Kim and her tag team partner, some dissension between the two, causing Madison Rayne to leave the match and just not help Gail Kim in the end. But Gail Kim still won because Tara went for a moonsault and banged up her knee, and that's always been a problem for her. I believe it's her right one, which made Gail Kim kind of rise up and take advantage of with a shin breaker, then using her finisher as a eat defeat. So that match, I'm going to give it about a 7. Yeah, I'm giving that one a 7. Then we had a tag title bout between the champions Crimson and Matt Morgan versus challengers Samoa Joe and Magnus. And it was another alright match. It went just under 10 minutes, and it had a lot of good fundamentals to it. It had the basic heels isolating one of the faces so they can try and win the match. Very basic fundamentals that you got to have in a tag team match. And during this, we got to see a downfall between the tag champs, because let's stay on the record, Crimson is obviously still undefeated because he wasn't pinned. It was Matt Morgan who was pinned, I'm pretty sure, because it was Matt Morgan after a little bit of a misguided spear that was, I believe it was meant for Samoa Joe. I might be wrong, I probably am, knowing me. He went for the spear, he missed, got Matt Morgan instead, because Joe, I'm pretty sure it was Joe, he moved out of the way, which left Morgan to get nailed. And then Crimson's taken out of the ring, and there we go, new tag champs. I'm gonna give that one about I'll give it about another 8, only because I liked it up until I think the middle of the match is starting to get a little boring and predictable, and then a little stale. It kind of went back to where it was at the beginning with good basic fundamentals. Then the 5th match, which is the match of the night. I don't care what anyone says. Me and some of my friends think it was the best match. Austin Aries versus Alex Shelley for the X Division Championship, and it was good. It was very good, and it wasn't even 15 minutes long, but it was amazing. It wasn't the longest match. It was the 3rd longest match of the night, and I loved it. We had a returning Alex Shelley trying to take it to Austin Aries to see who's gonna meet Zemayo. I'm guessing next pay-per-view, but we watched those two going at it, and during the match, I gotta say, it was really good. All the close calls, one of my favorite parts was Austin Aries' first attempt at his pendulum elbow. He does the swinging, then he does this, I'm guessing like a twisting to an elbow drop. It's kind of cool to watch, and how he was teasing the audience. Was like, oh yeah, not yet, not yet. Then he goes for a final and he misses. That was a very good heel characteristic, that I gotta say. And as the match went on, you saw Alex Shelley getting in some good hits. They went for their finishers a couple times, I believe. I remember. Yeah, at the end we had a couple close calls. There's a bunch of good close calls, especially after Alex Shelley went for the sliced bread, and instead he only got a 2 because Austin Aries was right by the ropes and got his hand on it. Excuse me. So while Aries was able to get lucky right there, and we also saw suicide dives from both guys. And a couple times, twice, Alex Shelley went for it prior, and Austin Aries did a good, I would call it a veteran maneuver. Not only did he get away, it was also a good heel maneuver because he went under the ring to blindside Shelley. And that was pretty unique because you don't get to see a counter like that too often. And going back to near the end, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this all from memory. He was able to finally get a second brainbuster DDT on Alex Shelley, and then he used his new submission maneuver, which I think he calls it the last chance he calls it, which is after he does the brainbuster, he will kind of flip over and get them in a it reminds me of like a crippler crossface type stretch because they're getting bent up like this, and that's what it reminds me a lot of. So from there, it's just all Austin Aries because Shelley taps out. Match number 6 wasn't a title match. It was just Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. And this was the longest match of the night, and I just get a real feel for it because the story behind the match is obviously Daniels has something against Kazarian to use against AJ Styles, and he's really just trying to get the better Styles any way he can. So he's having Kazarian do the dirty work, and it's and my X Division title match rating I forgot was I'm gonna have to go and give that match I'm giving it a 9.5. But back to Kazarian and Styles, I watched the whole match, just had trouble paying attention to it. And in the end, where Styles takes out Daniels and gets back in the ring, he's taken out by Kazarian's Fade to Black. So Kazarian won, and I'm giving the match about a 4.5 for the match. I'll bump it up to about a 6 for the ending, even though the ending was kind of shitty. It was just like the way he wanted to get a piece of Daniels before going in just to meet his downfall. That's the only reason I'm bumping up to 6. Then a match that really here's another match I did lose some internet feed from. Gunner versus Garrett Bischoff, and the pre-match promo just really pissed me off. It shows Eric Bischoff being Eric Bischoff, a total douchebag, and I did not like the match. From what I got to see, I could not get into it. And in the end, Gunner gets a win after multiple high impact moves on Garrett's neck because Garrett had a injured neck. And I'm giving the match I give it about a 2.5, maybe a 3 to be nice. And now our main event, Bobby Roode, the TNA champion, versus Bully Ray, versus Jeff Hardy, versus James Storm. And this match, I hated it. I could not. And we had Sting as a guest enforcer, which only because Bobby Roode has been taking every shortcut he can, so Sting had to do something about it, obviously. But at the same time, the match, I'm not even going to go into detail because the ending pissed me off. It's just going to be Roode spitting at Sting, so Sting will sling the title at him. Roode ducks, and Sting gets Jeff Hardy instead with the belt, and Sting's forced to count the fall. I'm giving that match a 5. And sorry, I could not like that match at all. So in the end, I'm giving this pay-per-view I'm just going to give it a 7 to be only because of the X Division title match. Thank you for watching, and this is Necro here. Later.